going to be courtesy of Ian's camera since I had some technical difficulties. So we're approaching the stop sign. Isla makes a cheeky little move up the left-hand side to get a little bit better position. I noticed we didn't like come to a great stop there, but if you notice there weren't any cars, so we'll let this one slide this time. But for those of you who remember getting pulled over a few years ago at that stop sign, that wasn't cool. Or as cool as it could be. Anyway, so Ian slotted in nicely, sitting in. There's a wind out of the east, and the pace hasn't hotted up yet. I think we have 17 riders today for this November, which is actually a pretty good turnout. In fact, I was kind of surprised. And the hopes from many people is that, well, the pace would be slow and that it would be more tempo, but I don't really think that's what happened. In fact, I know that's not what happened, as we'll see. So Ian sitting in behind Brandon pretty nicely. Looks like, as you can see, Brandon's saddle looks a little bit too high, and we did chat about this later. I think he made some saddle adjustments, but yeah, that looks pretty uncomfortably high there that I'm looking at now. Ian's got a good position, and I see yours truly with his antenna on his head, two riders up there. Unfortunately, my 360 cam ran out of battery or something, and so I didn't get any 360 video for this one, and I was kind of dismayed. Looking at its footage, I was like, what the hell? It only got me like 2 minutes and it just died, so I gotta look at that. Anyway, I did upgrade the firmware actually tonight, so maybe next time it'll be a little bit better. So the pace is starting to hot up a little bit. Everybody's sitting in and things look pretty ordered, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I can see, well, I can't see who's up front. I don't really remember who was up front. But there were some new people here, and they were actually pretty strong. So it looks like Joel and Justin looking pretty comfortable sitting in. I'm not looking that comfortable, and maybe if I am looking that comfortable, I definitely wasn't. But everything's ordered, and we're heading into the corner, or at least towards that little section later on, and I'm always a little concerned like what my position is going to be going into here, because this is pretty fast. We just crested a little rise there, and with a slight descent into this corner, and positioning is somewhat important. I'm always cognizant of like where I am and what wheel I'm going to be on. So a bunch of guys are on the right hand side, and I never like to be on the right hand side into this corner, just in case someone slides out on the inside. Most of the guys here are pretty safe, but like one never knows. All one needs to do is hit a little bit of sand or something. But that went pretty well. So Ian kind of coasts up. He's out in the middle of the road a little bit, using his momentum, which is the right thing to do, and then he's going to slot in behind Justin, who is quite comfortable. Everyone's kind of settling in and getting back into position after that corner, which people tend to get strung out on a little bit, which is actually a really good place to attack if you've got the cornering skills. So here's a new guy. I don't remember his name, Carl or Chad or something. Pretty strong guy, and from the First City team, and actually a really good rider. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but maybe I will next time. So into the corner, and it looks like I can see Tony up front, and he's moving pretty good. Tony's got a really high cadence, and he's actually feeling pretty good. He's one of the riders that usually comes out pretty strong, and even when he says he's not riding strong, trust me, he's going to be riding strong, and there's one of the wheels that you might want to be on if you want to launch an attack or whatever. So it's like Justin's looking pretty comfortable, and from what I can tell, Ian's looking pretty comfortable too, or at least he's sitting in there. Sometimes you can tell with some of the videos when the bike starts to rock back and forth, when people stand up and there's some suffering going on. And I can look at my position up there, and I can see that I am working pretty hard for that little surge that Tony put in, and I'm not certain who's going to cover that one. People were I don't know, still going double file, and I'm not quite certain why that was when it starts to get strung out like that. But people just don't know yet. They don't really understand that, if you want to save some energy, you probably want to go single file or at least sit in. And if you're feeling strong, by all means, stay up at the front, because that's one of the tactics. If you do have the strength and you want to be there for the move. So here comes Ian. I'm slotting back. There goes Tony slotting back. It looks like Greg slotting back. And Ian's probably not going to pull through here. Nope, looks like he is. And he's going to cover this one. Oh, notice the bike rocks back and forth a little bit. Yeah, so you can tell there's a little bit of effort being thrown in there as he's covered that move very nicely. So these guys still doing the double file thing. I'm not quite certain why they're not totally like just sitting in and trying to get some shelter here, but hey, you know, um, to each their own. So it looks like Ian's got some pretty good position here. He's using his momentum as a slight bit of a downhill. So he's probably pretty comfortable now. Third position, looking pretty good, which is actually a good position for Ian. So I'm pretty impressed here that he's actually up there. The boys are coming back, and Ian very wisely slots in behind the guys that are coming back because he doesn't want to do any work. So there's Tony coming through, and Tony's looking like he's got a little bit of acceleration. And if I recall, it took me a little bit of effort to try to cover that move by Tony. So I'm sitting in, and you can see my shoulders were rocking back and forth a little bit, and then everyone comes through. Chad rocking back and forth up there in the orange. Justin's looking pretty comfortable. Joel looks like he's moving up on the outside. And if I remember this corner, yeah, I was hurting pretty much here and taking a lot of wind out there because I didn't have the wheel that I really wanted. So Ian comes past me, sits on Justin, which isn't bad. And Ian's riding pretty strong these days. So I don't know where I am. I think I'm probably right behind Ian at this point. You know, just trying to hold on. I was kind of sagging back, and that's one of the terms that if you're up at the front and you don't want to go with the acceleration, just kind of slide back through it and then find a wheel and kind of jump back in. So the things are definitely hotting up now. A little bit of a gap by Ian. Here comes Tony. After he's done a little bit of work, there's Justin. And it doesn't look like Tony's going to slot in here, is he? Nope, Ian's going to take it. So we're all strung out finally. You know, none of this double file stuff. People have finally learned that, okay, we need to conserve some energy here and try to do a little something to conserve that so we'll have something for the end. So I think, is it Chad is up front up here? Nope, it was Dean and Chad. Yeah. So I'm not certain why Chad is going so hard here, but Dean put on a little bit of an acceleration, which was kind of hard to cover by a lot of people. Tony was comfortable just blowing his nose there. You know, I'm coming up behind Tony. Dean's coming back, but he's like really strong. He's putting on a strong acceleration, and people didn't spend didn't have a lot of energy to go around him, which means, you know, he probably could have like really done a lot more damage had he just kept the pace a little bit higher for just a few more seconds. And you can see like people are just like allowed to catch here. So it looks like a slight echelon. Yeah, it must be the wind. And the wind on this road always changes, so it looks like it's coming out of the southeast slightly. There was a slight bit of echelon there. So Chad had thought this was the end, and he comes out and slightly cuts off Ian on this one. That's kind of unfortunate because, you know, he wasn't really certain where he was. But Ian gets to sag back a little bit, you know, fall back through, catch a little bit of draft, and it looks like he's able to keep contact, which, you know, in hindsight might have actually been a better move than being up front, because I forget who the big guy is here, but let's see, we'll just call him Carl for now. He's smooth, and he's a big guy, so that's probably where you want to be. And he's definitely seasoned. He holds his line really well, as is really everyone up here. So I'm really happy to be riding with these guys. So there I am struggling. You can see that I'm just working really hard here, just trying to cover the move that went up the road that it looks like I probably missed. And maybe this is sayonara to Ian at this point. Right on the yellow line, a lot of people, which it's good thing there aren't any cars back here. And I think this is all she wrote from Ian at this point. Yep, there's Brandon. Yeah, look at that leg extension there. Totally overextended. Yeah, hopefully he gets that fixed by the next event. Yeah, when you change saddles, you got to definitely measure the saddle rails to make certain that you got the same height. And and we had chatted. He did have a bike fit done. I don't know if they gave him the measurements, like the seat height and fore and aft and all that stuff, but when the guy replaced his saddle, who knows, right? Something definitely happened where he's definitely overextended now. So Ian comes back, still pushing pretty hard, and I think, well, it's game over at this point. And I can tell that, or if I remember, I came off the front because I just didn't have it that day, um, but it was good. So Ian's like, come along. It's looks like he's pretty far back, but you know that's just the lens. And that's pretty much all she wrote for this one. So while we have some extra time here, I'll ramble on a little bit about some of the etiquette that we've been missing in the last couple of rides. And it's been okay on the sprints, but some of the regrouping, the last two right-hand turns, the guys up front have just been going. And I don't understand why the guys in the group that know better not to just follow. They need to look back and see if everybody's there. They just kind of make the assumption that they are, or they just care about themselves, which is, who knows. But I've been back waiting for people or just got caught back, and I just watch them just go around the corner, and then, yeah, they were going a little bit slow, but they never waited to see if people caught up. And at a certain point, they just assume so, and then they just engage the warp engines, and the rest of us are back there like chasing hard, which isn't what we paid for. Because, and in case people don't know, this is supposed to be a no-drop ride, which is the reason for the sprint zones. It allows people to stretch their legs so they don't feel like they're held back, and then everyone can regroup. And let's face it, guys, it is much more fun to drop your friends over and over again versus just dropping them once. Because if you got a lot of it and you want to swing it around, smack them with it a few times, not just once. Anyway, you can see the guys coming back. Everyone's pretty happy. Ian's gonna make the turn here and regroup like he's supposed to, and life is good. Like, too often people wait too long and they have to chase. Anyway, a good time was had by all. Peace.